Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher. And today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Sproxy from David Rae. Now, this is a grid pattern. And I'm just going to do a 4 square, but I'm going to put my just a little border in ink around the outside. Just because. And then, let's see, I'm going to divide in half. Sort of. And then in half again, or close to it. And, you know, like a lot of tangles, they are forgiving. So don't fret if it's a little off. As you can see, mine is not, is a little off, and it will be fine. All right, next, in each square, and I'll mention really quick, we're going to put a little diamond in each square. This one I found, if I drew it a little bigger than I thought, I was a little bit happier with my result. But you know what? You can play with it and see what you like. I do want to mention on the step outs, I think on both my step out, and I will also put a link in the under for more. Oh, that doesn't look like a proper diamond, but oh well. Under for more inspiration, I will put the Tangle Patterns link where I found this tangle. And on David's also, the step out, the first 5 boxes of mine, say, are each individual box, just so it's easier to see versus doing, you know, a 4 square like this. And but the last one, I have some samples on ways that you can finish. And then I'll share some other ideas as well at the end of the video. All right, once you have your diamonds in each box, then we're going to do some curved lines. Now, there's 2 ways that you can do this. So if you're doing it in a grid pattern, you know, and I'm going to assume you'll have more of a grid than this. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do this edge side so you can see. And, you know, it's just a little curved line like so on both sides. Now, one thing you can do inside your grid is, so we're going from point to point. So instead of doing it like this on either side, which is what I was doing first, you could do it like this, just crossing right over that line, because we know we're going to do that. We want to have a meetup anyway, so why not just do it like that? All right, and I'm going to do the same thing here, and then we'll get those outside. So I'm doing, you know, we're doing this curve. Well, that's interesting. It'll be okay. So I'm doing like this in a row first. And then I'm going to turn the tile and do it the other side. And I'm going to do these insides first. And then do the outsides. Sometimes I like to do something like that because then I get the pen stroke in my hand and in my head a little bit, because I like this angle, and if I want to, the height of this or the width of it, and sometimes it's just helpful to do that first and then come back and do the sides. So you see kind of the meta patterns that's starting to happen. Now, let me tell you, we just had a couple sessions on my Tangle Time, and so that way, you know, if you want to join, if you haven't yet, one of the sessions I do every Thursday, unless there's a holiday or something odd happens, and then I usually just shift it to another day, which has only happened, I think, twice in the, year and a half that we've been doing these. But so every week, and it's free, and we just explore a tangle or 2, depends on what, you know, I think we can fit in an hour. We spent the whole hour on this. It was so much fun. And so when you're using a more of a grid, it does cause a little bit of eye strain, and it's not necessarily difficult. There's a focus that we have to have, and it's I don't know. It's kind of fun. Maybe I'm weird, but it's kind of fun to have that. But I just want to give you that warning. So sometimes it's good to take a little eyeball break every so often. But just know that going into it, it's like, yep, going to have some focus. Because as you could see, as I was doing this, all of a sudden I've got this circle. And you can picture, there would be one here. And then as your eye shifts, then you're like, well, here's some... It just keeps shifting the meta patterns. And it's fun and it's neat. And as we keep adding, so we've got 2 more steps before we, do the filling in, shading, whatever you want to do. It kind of keeps going with that in mind. All right. So the next step, what I have also found that's helpful is when we have these meta patterns that keep appearing, and for me, it keeps just confusing my eyes. Sometimes it's like, okay, let me just focus on just this, and then just really looking at that perimeter. So the next thing that we're going to do is, all right, looking back at it this way. So this is the step we just did, right? These little curved lines coming from the diamonds. Now, from these corners, we're going to, I was trying to think the best way to say it. The outside of these 2 curved lines that we just created, I'm just going to do it so you can see. We're going to put another curved line in there, okay? And it's kind of like at the 4 corners of the grid, that's where we're putting those, but we're connecting those 2 outside lines. Now, you could do something similar with this where you draw, a curved line all the way up here, but you want to make sure to touch touch up here as well. This part I wasn't as successful at, kind of crossing over. So this one I personally need to do it in 2 steps. So, but I share that with you so that way, if you can do it in 1 step, great. It makes for a nice continuous line or, curve when you do that. So when I'm doing it, I end up having a little bit of, a little bit of a corner, so I don't have a nice circle. They're like I said, they're kind of squared off, but that's okay. And so this one, again, the trick is making sure we're getting all 4 sides, and we're adding this. Probably just helps if I just make a nice arch in those. Okay, and I'm apparently missing the inside. And I think maybe you can see how it's like, okay, I need to focus. Oh, look at that. This round is turning out nice. Wow, I didn't do that on any of my earlier ones. I guess the extra practice helps. Oops, and here's where I missed one too. And then, as you're doing shade, or at the next step even, I got that. So sometimes it's like, okay, focusing on one, and that way, and putting your fingers in and just kind of hiding the other stuff might help as well. Okay. And that creates a really neat pattern as it is, right? Okay, but we have 1 more step. Now, getting your focus in on just this box, focusing in on the little diamond that we started with. What we're going to do is we're going to put 2 straight lines from these 2 corners. We're going to, and let me just do it so you can see, creating a little triangle coming off of that diamond. And this one, well, it's up to you. Sometimes I find it's plenty easy to do each step. This one, I can do top, bottom. I found that this helped me the most to do it this way. So I'm doing the top and bottom spikes, so I'm not turning my tile and getting myself even more confused. And kind of aiming for, the center of this little arch. Okay, so doing, like I said, top and bottoms. Then I'm just turning the tile once and repeating that. So that way all 4 sides of that original diamond will have these little, we were calling them spikes, coming off of. Now, depending on how you do that, that second step, this curve line right here, will kind of dictate how narrow or otherwise, these little triangles are. So originally mine were a little wider, and so then that made these spikes a little bit thinner and longer, because this, this part was a little longer. But it all ends up looking just fine. And you know what? Even with that, that looks really cool just as it is. So one of the things that we talked about in our session, and actually, I'm gonna fill in as David did on his step out, and then we'll show you some of the other ideas. So on his original one, he just filled in these spikes, and so we'll go ahead and do that as I talk. But there's a lot of other ways that you can do this. We talked about how this kind of lends itself to like a stained glass idea. So you can use, I mean, if you want to use color, you can. In the method, we stick with black, white, shades of gray because it's easy, number one. Less thinking, that means more, you get more of a mindful, meditative experience out of it. That's why, in the method, that's what they stick with. But you can add, color or whatever. I like to sometimes use, of course, you can use markers. There's nice fine line markers as well. And even in these microns that we use, they have them in colors as well. So it's up to your creativity, and we had a lot of fun with it. And also, depending on what you filled in, or how you shaded it, we ended up having what looked like a number of different tangles come out of it, but it was all the same tangle. It just depended on what we ended up doing with them afterwards. And if you want to see those results, I'm hoping to have it done soon. But if you go to my website, which the link is in the description box, then and sign up for the blog. Yeah, I forget to mention that because I have not been in a great habit of doing it. I will tell you that. But I'm working to get back on track after every Tangle time to send out a post that has the pictures, screenshots from our AM and PM session, as well as any pictures that anyone sent in to me, along with links to the step outs and stuff like that. So, so feel free to sign up to follow that blog, and then you will get those notices also. All right. So like I said, I'm just going to fill that part in so that we can see. It's really, really neat tangle. Now, let me back up my camera here really quick. Hold on. We'll go for a ride. You see all my little, as I was testing pens here, that's why this always looks like such a mess, because I'm either going off the page and I have little marks, or pencil lines. Just funny. All right, so this is one that I did, and I decided, so I will point out here. So in the circles that are created, I decided I wanted to have these lines kind of disappear. And there's a number of ways you could do it. Somebody on the call did spokes coming out of the center, so straight lines, and then these grid lines disappear. Now that doesn't disappear from here, obviously, but so I decided to aura the corner, and then I did some shading so that way it would kind of sink down below, and then I did opposite of here, where I filled in the little wings on either side of that triangle that we created. I'm still debating on if I wanted to do anything more, but this is where it is right now. Now, what's interesting is I was hoping, so this is neat, sort of. What I was hoping to do, right now when I'm looking at it, I see just a grid. I was hoping to have it where I would see more of the circle. But what's interesting is if I turn it on the angle like this, then you can kind of see more of that circle, that's created here. But not as much as I would like. So one of those, just depends on how what you decide to color in, how you decide to shade things. I also did a little bit of shading on either side of these, big seeds. Then the second class we did, I decided to do a Renaissance tile using white, the white gel pen. This one I used a Uniball Signo because I wanted it to be it was a little bit thicker one. And I don't know. Let's see if I move it. I don't know if you can see. Oh, sort of. So I put gold in those wings this time, and used a colored pencil to create, a gem type of a thing. Added the little extra swooshes of white to make it look shiny, and those are a lot of fun to do. I do have a video on those. Heather, I called it Heather's Way. It's kind of an inside joke. If you end up following and coming on the classes, then you'll understand it. It's more about the not an artist thing. So if I can find a way to do something that I can do it, and I like to share it for my, just because I like to, find ways that I can do it and not be frustrated. We'll just leave it at that. And then, added just some extra little accents and shading, kind of using, or working on the idea of like the embossing technique. So, just shading in one direction and things like that. But I just wanted to play with that and have fun. And I think it turned out really interesting. I'm debating. Well, no, I put some little lines in the center because I was debating if I wanted to do anything more with those. I just don't know, but I kind of tickled with how it turned out. Again, lots of areas that you have, to either fill in, or add some kind of a texture. It's all up to you and how you want to proceed. Even doing it like this is just fine. As I mentioned, you will see on my step outs, as well as in the For More Inspiration, some extra ideas. Make sure on the Tangle Patterns link, which is under For More Inspiration, when you go to that link, scroll all the way to the bottom, because there's a couple extra samples that I almost missed because I didn't scroll down far enough. But make sure to check those out, just to give you some ideas on how you can utilize this. And if you enjoyed, would love to have a thumbs up, like, share, subscribe, all that. Especially if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would be honored if you subscribed. If you do, click that notification bell so that way you can designate how you want to be notified, if you want to be notified at all. And I already mentioned classes and things, stuff on my website. If you have questions, always feel free to comment as well. And I do keep a pretty good eye on those. All right. So with that, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I wish you happy tangling.